No music. No music. No music. Ay, 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 ay. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Legacy Speaks. Suicide is a topic that is often overlooked, avoided, or misunderstood. Understandably, it creates some level of discomfort with many people. But did you know that on average, there are about 121 deaths by suicide per day? As a matter of fact, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the US alone, with over 44,000 deaths per year. So if you haven't guessed it already, today we're talking suicide prevention. Spreading awareness and educating others can potentially save the life of a friend, co-worker, or loved one. So before we get into it, please be sure to hit that subscription button below. That way you can stay up to date on newly released content on a regular basis. So let's dive right in. I want to briefly discuss a few key terms that are crucial to the topic because historically, phrases like committed suicide, successful and unsuccessful suicide, or failed suicide attempt are used to describe those who choose to take their lives. And most of you guys probably didn't even know that all of those deviations even existed. However, it's important to stray away from terminology that further strengthens the stigma surrounding this touchy topic. It creates a sense of shame, essentially pointing fingers at the individual as if they committed a crime. And trust me guys, I get it. I constantly have to catch myself as well because it's so ingrained in our vocabulary and in our culture. But we have to understand that although we may not agree with their choice in handling these moments of distress or mental illness, they are still members of humanity and should not be treated any less than. So with that being said, I ask that you please utilize more appropriate and less offensive terms such as died by suicide, ended his or her own life, took his or her own life, suicide attempt, or even attempted to take his or her own life. I feel like it's important to differentiate between suicidal ideation and the actual suicidal attempt because a lot of people tend to either mesh the two or just automatically assume that one is a precursor for the other. Thinking about or planning an attempt to end one's life does not automatically guarantee that the person will move forward with actually carrying out the act. However, it is still very important to take these thoughts and plans just as seriously. Only contemplating and planning versus actually making an attempt to take one's own life comes down to intent. And that's actually the difference between the two. The level of intent is what determines whether the thoughts will manifest into actions. And honestly, it gets deeper than that because suicidal ideation is further broken down into two different categories known as passive and active. And I know y'all probably like, oh my gosh, what is this? But hey, give me a second. I will make things a little bit more clear for you guys, all right? Passive suicidal ideation consists of non-specific thoughts of suicide, like wishing to not wake up in the morning. And on the flip side, active suicidal ideation is when a person has many incessant thoughts of suicide that just keep coming at them. And oftentimes, a plan on how to take their life may already be in existence. Once again, don't get caught up with the labels and terms. I was just sharing these for your information. Thoughts of suicide of any kind really need to be taken seriously and should be reported to a professional immediately. Now I have to throw this out here so that the information I provide doesn't cause y'all to go out here webbing DM folks and y'all good for that. Alright, so it's important to remember that everyone is different and that the following list of signs and risk factors may not even be seen in a person. So yes, people are capable of choosing to end their life without even showing any changes of emotions, actions, or behavior. As a matter of fact, most people who die by suicide in the US didn't even make a previous attempt. With that being said, there is no prototype, but rather notable characteristics that can help determine who would be at risk. And although I won't be going through the full list, you can find everything at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and their website is definitely in the description box below. Just click the link and don't forget to also check out those great resources that I've provided as well and share them, okay? Share them. Some signs of suicidal ideation include aggression, isolation, giving away possessions of value, increased use of alcohol, as well as depression, loss of interest in the things that they once enjoyed, feeling hopeless or helpless, and sometimes it could definitely be as blunt as talking about taking their own life, feeling like they have no reason to live, or that the world would be a better place without them. Now, with regards to risk factors, these are things about a person's history, brain chemistry, relationships, or experiences that make the person more likely to actually attempt or complete suicide. But once again, it is possible to have risk factors and not be suicidal at all. There's this really great author named Sean Christopher Shea, and he wrote this awesome book called The Practical Art of Suicidal Assessment. I had to read it for my crisis intervention class, but I feel like every counselor or a person who's interested in mental health and wants to learn more about suicidal ideation, they should definitely cop this book. And I'm not endorsed by him or anything, but if you really do want to further your education or further your knowledge on suicidal assessments or just suicidal ideation or suicidal attempts, check out this book. I will put his information in the description box as well. But basically, Shay says that the presence of or the lack of risk factors does not determine whether an individual will complete suicide. And suicide cannot fully be predicted, and it's different for each and every person. People who take their lives make the decision based on their unique situation. And because of this, we cannot rely on risk factors to reveal who will take their life. However, looking at risk factors can give us the idea about who might be most at risk so that we can get them the appropriate help or the appropriate resources as soon as possible. There are many risk factors for suicide, but the most common ones include previous suicidal attempts, gender, age, psychological disorders, abuse, substance misuse, parental suicide, unemployment, and problems with family, friends, or the romantic partner. Yes, y'all in these relationships be having y'all going crazy. Oh my gosh. And not to laugh, but this is like for real. Like, love really makes you go crazy for real. Like, it needs to be in the DSM. I don't know about y'all, but it's wild. So let me expound on a few. Studies show that women are more likely to attempt suicide, whereas men are more likely to complete suicide. Rates tend to be the highest among those between the ages of 45 and 65 years old, with those 85 years or older being the second highest rate for suicide. People who have depression and anxiety, as well as some other psychological disorders, are more likely to struggle with suicide. Also, using alcohol and/or drugs can increase suicide risk. There are a number of ways to cope with thoughts of suicide, but a trained professional can determine the type of help that you or that individual may need. And these include anyone within the mental health profession, like a licensed professional counselor, a school counselor, social worker, and so on. Another resource that I'm constantly sharing is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which provides crisis intervention once connected to a phone liaison. They also have the capability to contact local law enforcement to intercept a potential death by suicide. Before I conclude this video, I just wanted to take the time to talk to somebody who is watching this and may be dealing with thoughts of suicide. I know it may be difficult to see past the turmoil and the pain right now, and things may seem as though they will never get better, but I am here to tell you that they will. You are stronger than you think. You are special and unique beyond measure. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You have a purpose here on the earth that cannot be fulfilled by anyone else but you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, my friend. You matter, your life matters. You matter, your life matters. Say it with me. You matter, your life matters. So yeah, I know that was a lot of information, but I really do hope that every second and every minute meant something to you and was helpful to you. As I mentioned before, don't forget to check out these great resources that I provided in the description box, as well as please be sure to hit that subscription button, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I would greatly appreciate your feedback, and let's keep the conversation going. What are some misconceptions or even some personal experiences that you've had with regards to suicide or suicidal ideation? Also, comment below on what advice that you would give to somebody who is battling with thoughts of suicide. Oh, and don't forget to stay connected via Legacy SVKS on everything. Until next time.